Good evening, everyone. It's Viktor speaking again. And today I am here with Tsveti, and we are going to have a look at Prince Harry and Meghan's chart. And we are going to try to figure out what's coming up for them in 2020, a little bit of a 2021 as well. I just want to tell you guys that this video has got the purpose of education for those who are interested in astrology and would like to deepen their knowledge a little bit. And also, this is a video for entertainment. So the reason why I mentioned that, because we are not going to take sides here. We don't want to fall in a trap of politics and so forth. It's just more about, showing you some skills, discussing, having a good astrology chat basically with Tsveti. So if you like the video, you know what to do. Just press like. If you would like a reading with us, then just drop us an email. The email is going to be in the description. And also just a quick announcement. I am going to be doing a transit workshop on the 16th of February. And the reason being is because I believe that transits are very misunderstood nowadays. And I think plenty of you might need a little bit of a help to put them in place. And I'm also going to show a couple of advanced techniques as well in regards to transit, such as how to use midpoints in transits and how to see the core of the chart immediately, what transits count and what doesn't. So if you are interested, you will also see the link below so that you can sign up as an early bird. How are you doing, Tsveti?
Hi, Victor. Hi, everyone. I'm doing pretty good. Lots of watery energy today, so I hope I will be able to have deeper insights, just like a true Piscean.
We've got a little bit of a Neptune-Venus influence going on at the moment, so I'm sure we will be able to.
Yeah, hopefully. So, yeah.
So what we did was, personally, I had a look at what was going to happen in 2020 for them. Today, I'm going to be using mainly annual profection, which is one of my favorite timing techniques. So if someone is not familiar with that, I'm going to walk you through how to actually work with it. It's pretty a simple technique, but very, very powerful. And Tsveti is actually going to be looking at the relationship, what brought the couple together. And also she is going to look at what's going to come up for them in 2020, but she is going to be looking at a different timing technique. So let's get started. Why do you think the two of them are together? What stood out for you in their chart? What technique do you work with when you have a look at the synastry chart?
Well, the first thing I did when I looked at the synastry chart, it was actually to look for some compatibility, some conjunctions or some hidden signs of compatibility. And it really stands out that Prince Harry and Meghan, they have their axes, the ascendant, descendant, the IC and the MC diverted.
So having a look at their synastry overlay chart, what do you think brought them together?
Well, a few things that come to my mind, but a very important thing I noticed in the synastry chart is that the axes of ascendant descendant are actually reverted for them both. This means that Prince Harry's ascendant is in conjunction with Meghan's descendant in her 7th house and vice versa. So these are like two opposites that attract very strongly each other, and they're like covering their backs. And also because it's an opposition, it can be hard sometimes, but still it represents, I think that oppositions represent generally a great way to develop for growth, because you're able to see the other side and to balance yourself in a way.
Partner is a mirror for us anyway. So how I usually interpret this is that the first house is going to be your persona. Basically, that's going to be something to do with you. And the seventh house is representing what you want to kind of not come to terms with. Features, characteristics of yours which you might not be so satisfied with, or you want to hide away from the public to a certain extent. So in this overlay chart, actually, what it shows is that Meghan is like a catalyzer, or catalyzer, is that the word in English?
Catalyst, yeah.
Yeah, who brings out, you know, some of those characteristics of Prince Harry out of him. It is a very powerful synastry combination, by the way. So this is one of the top ones if I had to pick one. What else did you see there?
Another thing that also made impression to me was his Venus, which is like in the same sign with Meghan's stellium in Libra. And in a male's chart, Venus would represent the women he would choose, just like the moon. And actually, his Venus in Libra would be an indication that he will choose someone very delicate, someone who is very harmonic, beautiful, very beautiful, just like Meghan is. So someone very exquisite in a way, subtle, someone well behaved, just like Venus in Libra would be. And yeah, this is in conjunction with Meghan's Libra qualities practically, and she has her moon there, which is, I think, very powerful to have moon and Venus in the same sign. I think this is very harmonic, and especially Libra, which is the sign of harmony anyway. Yeah, I think this is a very harmonic relationship. And looking at Meghan's chart, where she has Moon, Saturn, Jupiter in conjunction in Libra, this could, and Pluto a little bit further, but still in Libra, this would represent on her side that because Saturn is authority and discipline, and Jupiter is benevolence, something of a higher standing, of a higher position. So her moon, I think, in her own natal chart also represents that she will be, in her family, she will be with someone of a higher status, someone maybe even royal, because it's Jupiter there, and an authority like the monarchy. It's conjunct the moon, which represents the family.
That's
So,
right.
yeah, and his Venus, it's like they're chosen for each other because he chose her, and she has these qualities within her.
In traditional astrology, what actually Venus represents in a male's chart is what type of girlfriend we are looking for before we actually get married. So those are the qualities where you know, you're just really looking for someone to be compatible with. You know, this is more like a fifth house meta when you are young, and what type of ladies I'm attracted to. And actually the moon is the representation of wife. What type of wife I want to get married to. Now, in a female chart, moon is actually going to be a representation of what type of wife you become,
and mother.
And then Venus is how you're going to be like as a dating woman. Yes. And sometimes these characteristics are completely different. Don't forget that, let's say you are in your 20s, you might be more flirty and so forth, but once you become a wife, actually you might be just, you know, all about caring, nurturing the family and so forth. So for instance, you've got Venus in the sign of Aquarius as a lady. Yeah, maybe you are more flirty, you spend loads of time with your friends, but your moon is in Cancer. So once you get married, it looks like you're going to slow down, and then you will become a typical mom. And I usually say in synastry, there is a little bit of a danger there, because if I get married at an early age, and let's say someone get married to me And you know, I am a completely different person at the beginning of the relationship, and then I become someone else instead. That could bring a little bit of attention. So in synastry, I always pay attention to those, surely.
Yeah, and yeah. So also the reason why I actually picked Venus as the next step of the discussion was that was the moons of both Harry and Meghan, because they're ruled by Venus, both moons. Although they're in a different sign, he has moon in Taurus, which again represents this high standards, exquisiteness, the beauty. What is Taurus? It's beauty. And yeah, her moon is in Libra, which is practically more or less the same. Maybe Taurus more focused on the sensual part, and Libra more on the yeah, harmony thing. Yeah, and another thing regarding the moons, she has moon conjunct Saturn, and he has an opposition in the natal chart. And I have read that when somebody has an opposition, it creates tension within the person. And we usually meet people who have a conjunction so that we can learn how to integrate the qualities of these both planets. These people, practically, they're our teachers. They show us how to integrate this opposition within ourselves, so we can actually use it in a very pragmatic, even way. Yeah.
That's
So
a
I
very
think that,
clever idea. So I got a little bit confused there, but now I get it. So basically, Prince Harry has got a Saturn and the Moon opposition. And then you heard somewhere that you have got the tendency to meet someone who has got the conjunction part of it, because opposition talks about getting pulled in two different directions.
yes.
So if we have a look at the opposition in Harry's chart, then obviously he's got the responsible side
Yes.
to him, because Saturn is bang on the midheaven.
It's very
And then
heavy.
obviously there is the moon side, which is more about the nurturing, caring, a little bit of a lazy moon as well. We know that Taurus has got a
It's
tendency to
exalted.
have a comfortable life, not necessarily wanting to have plenty of responsibility. They just want a good standard in their own lives. Let me just add a couple of stuff to it, because I've also noticed that the world is really blaming Meghan, basically pulling Harry away from the royal duties. But if we really have a look at his north node and the south node,
Yeah.
south node indicates in the chart what you want to leave behind, and he wants to leave the royal duties behind, because you can see that's around the midheaven as well. Some 29 degrees, it's around the midheaven. It is an indication that he might have been an authority figure, a royal figure in his previous lifetimes as well, at least once. So it would be interesting to see what king or queen has got similar constellation like he has, some planetary alignments, similar planetary alignments. And the North Node in Taurus is all about, I want to have a comfortable, a normal life where I don't need to worry about money and harmony and whatever those Venus traits indicate. And obviously his Venus is in the 10th house. So I want to stay somewhere in the public, but I also want to focus on a relationship as well, who I can settle down with, I can have kids with, and then we live in like a happy family.
Yes.
So yes, Uranus, Meghan's Uranus is actually triggering that south node. So yeah, probably there is a little bit of an influence there, but Uranus is the planet of black sheep.
Yes.
I think how she connects to these stories, that she's getting the blame for it, because obviously she pulled one of the royals away from the throne, and everyone is blaming her. And now we can see that her Uranus is actually squared by Venus. And Venus is all about publicity, really. Venus talks about how much people like you, and then it's a huge, well, it's actually a sextile. Sorry,
Oh, yes.
it's a sextile. What I wanted to say was the sun.
Sun.
So the sun is actually square in it. And the sun talks about the royalty, really, the kings, the queens. So we can see a little bit of a tension going there.
Yes, but what I wanted actually to say with this Moon-Saturn opposition and the conjunction, it's like she helps him to proceed with what he really wants. And it's like the moon is so heavy down there. It's like triggering some emotions deep down, the desire to be taken care of, but yeah, not being able to do it yourself because of this opposition with Saturn, which makes you complete your duties. And it's on the MC. It's like you were disciplined, you were educated, no, you were grown up, Saturn, to follow the duties, the rules first, and then your needs.
Yeah,
While
that's right.
yeah, while Meghan with this conjunction, she knows exactly how to take care of her needs. So yeah, it's like maybe she just showed him how to do it, and she gave him the power to take care of this moon, yeah, of himself
Yeah.
practically. And
Also it's interesting that Prince Harry has got this bucket shape going on in his chart. So that's the bucket and that's the handle of it.
handle, yes.
And the handle talks about, imagine you carrying a bucket of water. You need to be very cautious with that because the water is going to tip out.
Yeah.
So, and the solution to his life is basically to come to terms with that moon north node conjunction. Heading towards a life what he wants to create for himself, basically. However, later on, I do believe, which I'm going to explain, that he's going to return to his royal duties.
To the cradle.
But I will really release that a little bit later on.
Okay. When you said about this bucket, I also remembered that looking at their natal charts, I noticed that Meghan's chart is actually full on the below part, while his chart is like a very publicity figure, very external one. It's full on the upper side, so they complete each other so well. And what else? I also noticed that in her chart, she only has, she doesn't have much earth as an element, while he has a lot of it. And at the same time, he's lacking air, while she has plenty of it. So it's like a very nice compatibility between them both, and they're like able to show each other what's missing, and they complete each other. And as an indication about their maybe about her marriage, and she has the sun in the second house with the Mercury and North Node, which shows the resources and our self-worth. So yeah, I think it falls into his 8th house.
Yeah.
Because here and it's like shared resources even. Not only mental, not only but also, yeah, also physical, also material resources. And yes, what else I was thinking was about his descendant in Cancer. He, Meghan is an American, and
That's
I
right.
think that the states, they have Cancer in the chart, in the
Yeah.
country chart. So it's like very direct. And but I was thinking, look at the chart, it's so showing. It's like he will pick up an American as his wife.
Yeah.
And with the sun in the
That's a
9th,
possibility.
he's very likely to pick up someone from abroad. And yeah, with Sagittarius in the 12th as well indicated. And yeah.
Great. Yeah, so definitely we can see compatibility going on here. Now, do you ever look at composite charts? Because my problem with synastry overlay, I think it shows the initial compatibility between two people, but it doesn't necessarily show what's going to happen with the couple. And that's what the
Yeah.
composite chart is very good for, to
Yeah.
see if there is any connection going on between two people, as well as what life holds for them.
Yes.
So that's their composite chart. How do you feel about this?
Um, I feel good about it. And looking at the ascendant, they are very energetic. They're like, can be a little bit stubborn and like a true Aries, very much for the truth, fighters. And the ruler is in the sixth. So they will be fighting for a cause. They will be fighting for something. They would like to serve to for, yeah, something for everyone that will be good for everyone. And because the sun is also there, and it's a very important indicator in the composite chart, it shows that when they are both together, they need to serve somebody, a cause. They need to serve a cause. So they were like having lots of charity work, because yeah, the sixth house, it's always the opposite of the 12th, which is the Pisces, and which is the, yeah, Neptune, and all the causes, all the what we donate, how we take care of the others. It's this Virgo Pisces axis that is activated very strongly with the Sun and Mars in there. So yeah, and also because they have Venus in the seventh on a very um, beginning degree, on the 0 degree actually, so they will be liked by everyone. It's like, but, and I don't know if I'm right to think that, but I will share it because it's a thought. It's Venus that comes first in the seventh house, so everybody's like accepting them, likes them, and yeah, wants to see more of them, admires them, thinks they're a beautiful couple, like Venus, a very harmonic one, and so on. And then later, when this Venus reaches to Saturn in a way, then the difficulties will come. And yeah, after Saturn, it's Pluto, which will show the truth, which will show the real face of things. And yes, this might be related to the developments lately. So at first it was all beauty, it was Mars and Venus in conjunction, even if they're in different signs. Mars and Venus in a conjunction is like lots of power, lots of beauty, lots of energy going on between them. And it can also indicate that their relationship happened very fast as well. Because Mars is there with Venus, it was very sudden. It was like kind of unexpected because, yeah, they're conjunct, and Mars gives this energy to Venus to develop. But then this energy goes on and it
Yeah,
reaches Saturn and Pluto. And yeah, but at some point, the good news is that it will also reach Jupiter, but it will be a little bit later.
that's right. How I feel about that out of sign based aspect between Mars and Venus is that, yeah, Mars is on a critical degree. And it looks like this relationship quite a practical one. Yes, most probably there is plenty of emotions and plenty of excitement there as well. But the relationship seems to be a little bit practical with the sixth house. We also have got Sun there, and Sun is going to be talking about how the couple wants to shine together. And it looks like they've got, yes, as you said, a common goal to work towards too. It looks like the couple has got the willingness to work on the relationship, even though they might be completely two different personalities. So there could be pretty much clashes there as well. Now, how I feel about this Venus and Mars is that eventually Venus seems to be separating from Mars because Venus cannot take the pressure anymore. Now, I had a look at the zodiacal releasing periods, I had a look at Prince Harry's one actually. Um, Zodiacal releasing is a second century timing technique introduced by Valence, who was a great astrologer. And then we can see that there is a huge change coming up in 2021/2022 in their relationships. I'm not 100% convinced if this relationship is going to survive, unfortunately.
Me neither.
Now, even by the transits, we can see that, which we can put here. I'm going to put the transit up onto this composite chart as well. If you see, Pluto is actually going to reach midheaven in approximately 2021 at the end of the year.
Yes.
And that Pluto comes from the 7th house alongside with Saturn. I think that Pluto is going to destroy their relationship.
Yeah, unless probably they learn how to balance this relationship in a way, because Pluto would show lots of drama, lots of to make a mountain out of a molehill, lots of, yeah, and also Pluto is in a square with the moon, which is in the 4th, and coming from the 7th, going to the MC by transits. So yeah, it can indicate separation definitely, because it will actually make an opposition to the moon as well.
That's
which
right.
is in the 4th, and which is very close to the critical degree. So it's yeah, gradually evolving to this. But yeah, because it will form a kind of a tau square. And we usually say that the solution of a tau square would be either at the apex point, which is Pluto conjunct Saturn in this case, or in the opposition of this Pluto-Saturn conjunction, which will be in Aries. This means that this axis, 1st, 7th house, who am I, who are you, where are we together, how we balance the relationship, I think this is the solution. If they figure this out, they will be able to survive. But this will be hard, definitely.
Saturn, Pluto, it always talks about demolishing something and then rebuild it.
Yes.
And this is exactly probably what they recognize as well. No wonder why they are moving to a foreign land to start over. But yeah, as I said, I'm gonna predict something very shortly in regards to why I believe he's gonna have to take his royal duties back, and which I think it's going to explain why there is going to be a little bit of a tension going on between him and Meghan. But it's going to be coming up soon, so just still stay tuned in.
Yeah, and also looking at the chart, I'm trying to figure out to what extent they are supported. And I'm looking at the aspects that the moon and the sun have in the chart, because this would represent some kind of a support. And yeah, while the moon has this square to Pluto, at the same time, it has a trine to Uranus and to Jupiter. So it can be balanced out. It is a supportive element, and it's also in Cancer. It's a very strong moon. So maybe this motherhood, because they have a boy, and maybe this will be this will have its heaviness. I mean, in the good sense, this will bring the good. This will bring motivation, emotional motivation, because the moon is in Cancer, to keep the family together, and because it's in a trine to Jupiter and in a trine to Uranus, I think there is such a possibility, because this tau square that we just mentioned before, it will actually activate all the aspects that the moon has, not only this tau square, but also the other ones. So I think they have some chances, good ones, because the moon is very strong. And the sun, well, it represents the male figure, so the prince. So the sun, it has a square to Uranus. This is yeah, Uranus comes from the 9th house, and the sun from the 6th. So this what I feel when looking at both, it's like the moon with this square to Pluto, it's very dramatic. It's making lots of fuss on sometimes very small things, and the Sun feels responsible to act on these. And with this Uranus square, takes rush decisions, not so well thought of, and it creates tension in the relationship afterwards. So it's like the Moon is pushing the Sun to take rash decisions in a way. This is what I see. And then this Mars Neptune, again, Mars become there in a trine with the Moon. So Mars, the male figure again, who acts, he can feel the Moon's moods even because it's in Cancer, and then acts emotionally because it's in a square to Neptune, again in the 9th house, which is to act again against one's long-term goals, because both squares are in the to planets in the 9th house, which is the long terms in Sagittarius. So even this decision to go abroad, it can be seen in these squares to the 9th house.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe they still don't see things clearly. It might not help so much. To be frank, I'm happy that you are very optimistic in regards to their relationship, and then I hope actually they can sort it out, because in my opinion, they are a lovely couple, but that's my personal opinion. But approaching this from an astrological point of view, apart from the Venus and the Sun, all of the planets are in the terms of Saturn or Mars. They have chosen a very hard karma. And Saturn talks about, authority figures. It talks about parenting. So it looks like every single planet is influenced by a parent and authority figures. And Mars is all about fights. So it looks like they never can calm down at all.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the couple itself, but probably, the tension between them as a couple and the world, plus, plus with maybe the royal family as well. So it's interesting. What I've done is I had a look at Prince Harry's solar return chart, and then I use that with I'm going to bring that up. I use that with profection. So if someone doesn't know what profection is, every single year is ruled or is activated in a certain house in your chart. Now, for instance, at the age of 12, your first house, then 24, 36, 48, and so forth. And it lasts from birthday to birthday. Now, he is 35 years old currently. He became 35 years old in September, and then he went into a 12th house year. Now, 12th house is not necessarily an easy house to deal with, because 12th house talks about your weaknesses. It talks about your karma. This is the house of losses. People also call it as the house of self-undoing. Now, self-undoing because you might feel that you are doing so great, but somehow it gets blows back into your face. So it's like a repetition of the bad things happening to you. Now, because this, and 12 house is also about hiding away, secluded, being isolated from the public, and so forth. And not to mention that it could be talking about health issues as well. Now, in his case, the 12th house is ruled by Jupiter. So Jupiter is going to be the most active planet in his chart, which is in the first house. As you said earlier on, Jupiter rules the royals. Jupiter is actually in the Greek mythology is Zeus, and Zeus was the god of all gods. And it's in the sign of Capricorn, which is talking about responsibility and so forth. Now, how I usually work with profection is that if there is any planet in the house which gets triggered by the given year, then each of them becomes a ruler for a sub-ruler for a certain amount of time. So the first ruler of the year is going to be Uranus, and it's going to be talking about a good 3 months in their lives. And Uranus here is, what is Uranus? Chaos, emotional ups and downs. Uranus actually rules something to do with relocation as well. And but somehow very much of a erratic planet. It blows everything out of the window, basically, out of the ballpark. Uranus is the emotional detachment. And because he's in a 12th house here, it is clearly showing that emotionally he wants to break away from the Capricorn energies, which is responsibility. And he wants to focus on his relationship, which is the opposite house, the 7th. Now, this could have been the period between September till December. Now, from January till April, May time, actually Mars is ruling the year for him. And Mars, what is Mars? It's all about fights. It's a very violent energy. Not mentioning that he was born in a day chart, and in traditional astrology, in a day chart, Mars is the most malefic planet. It is going to be a tough period for him between April till August, January till August. What I'm predicting really much here, that March is going to be a huge month for him, surely, because Mars is going to be going into the sign of Capricorn, joining Saturn and Pluto once again. He's not only going to be on the news, but he's going to have to deal with some type of losses. He's going to have to keep his aggression down, and then, but I feel like in March is the month when his blood is going to be boiling, pretty much. You know, just going back to Uranus a little bit, it represents freedom. And it pretty much looks like he wanted to gain his freedom back. As I said, 12th house rules karma. With that Mars, I want to cut away my karmic knots, basically, and then creating new ones. Mars is the planet of action and desire. So he's like pushing the gas pedal to achieve what he really wants to achieve. Now that Mars rules the 4th house, which is the house of family, unfortunately, it could be an indication that he might be losing someone very dear and close to him within the family. And the opportunities for that are actually quite high, especially in March, April month. And also, it's going to be quite important between September and November as well, when Mars is going to be going retrograde, actually, in the 4th house, which is talking about family, which is talking about your roots.
Yes.
This is making me think that if he is going to experience a loss, then
We'll go back.
he's going to go back and take up his royal duties.
Yes.
I'm also going to take this further. I know he is the 5th in the line for the throne, but I think in his mid-40s, he is going to become a king. Who I think people will curse me for it, but that's what I really see in his chart. That eventually he's going to take up the throne. And then, you know what, even if we're talking about the queen herself, she was the 3rd in line as well, and then she had to take up the throne, which actually her anniversary is coming up very soon. It's on my birthday, 6th of February, so I pretty much remember when she was crowned. But yeah, that's pretty much interesting to see. Now, this Jupiter here, unfortunately, is quite weak. Jupiter does not feel too good in the sign of Capricorn. So the problem with this Jupiter is that he might have got plenty of desire and you know, things he would like to get done, but it looks like the authority figures are stronger than him. So he's gonna get pushed quite a lot, in my opinion, in the upcoming month for him to go back. But the good news about Jupiter is, even though he is in a fall, it's in a cardinal house. Now, the positive side of this is I believe he is gonna try to come up with a business idea. And most probably it's gonna be a companionship with Meghan as well. And when I'm gonna show you Meghan chart, that's gonna make sense, even a little bit more, because actually Meghan is in a third house here. And her third house is Virgo, which talks about business. And third house talks about business ventures as well. And what I have seen is that the two business planets here are in such a good coloration. I think they want to come up with some business idea together. It's like creating maybe a brand. What I was really thinking about, maybe Meghan is thinking about designing clothes, perfumes, chocolates, sweets, but I'm going to show you that why I believe that. Yeah. Now, examining this Jupiter a little bit more, Jupiter has got a separating trine towards Mercury within 2-degree orb. Now, that would be helping a little bit, but because it's a separating one, unfortunately, it's not that powerful. So in my opinion, even them moving to a foreign country is not helping, because it's already a separating aspect. Separating aspect in your chart talks about the past, usually. So it looks like he has already done that once in his life, or he had attempts for it. To be honest, I don't know if he tried doing that beforehand.
He enrolled in the army, so he kind of went away from home. So he tried to separate once.
And then eventually it didn't work out. Now this separating trine is just indicating to me that maybe this time around the relationship is very strong, very compatible. They are like two eggs in a pod. I think that's what English says. But there is also another saying, blood is thicker than water. And that's what I really see from the position of the Jupiter, what he is in at the moment.
Yes, and also he has a very strong sense of responsibility. So I think it will finally win. And while we were talking, I was just looking at this Uranus in the 12th, in the 9th degree, and I was thinking about the directions. And actually, Uranus came to the ascendant, to the exact degree of the ascendant, when he was 32, which was really when he actually met Meghan. He changed his entirely. So this is another proof of how astrology works. It's so exact. He changed everything, and maybe this is the exact moment when he started looking further, because Uranus is a planet that makes you look further, makes you want make great changes. It pushes you. It's not gonna leave you alone until you do all necessary stuff, all that's required. Right. So it's really a great push. And when you mentioned Mars retrograde period, actually he will be in his 36th year of age already. And because the perfections work from birthday to birthday, this means that Mars will be the ruler of the year.
Yes, but Mars gonna be already in
Saturn,
August.
Saturn will be the ruler, yes.
Yes, so it's still kind of that Mars is gonna be affecting him, because the retrograde is gonna start, I think, on the 5th of September.
But it will be in a shadow period for quite a long time. Exactly. So it will start and then it will evolve.
Exactly. So he will feel that Mars very, very strongly.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So, as I said, Mercury would be helping there, but it doesn't seem to be that helpful. Now, Mercury, which would want to help, but doesn't have so much opportunity because of separating from Jupiter already, Mercury has got a square towards Mars. And Mars talks about forces, you know, it talks about something again to do with the family,
Yes.
and something to do with my duties, my life path. And, you know, therefore Mercury cannot help so much because Mars is very much influencing both of those two planets very, very, very strongly. You know, even I would say because Mercury is the planet of communication, but Mars is the planet of sharpness. Even what he has to watch out this year is to be able to say the right things, because the communication style could be very hectic there.
Yes.
Mars is the planet of protectiveness. So he might want to protect, you know, his ego, sun, as well as obviously his partner so much.
Yes, and yeah, this Mars retrograde will be really a hard time for him, and also this Saturn coming from the 11th in the first and going a little bit in the fourth for 4 months this year, then going back to the first. It will require to make this, to complete the deeds which are related to the first house, so to make a final decision so as to move on. So
that's right.
yeah,
Taking it a notch further, another planet which is going to be ruling there in the last 4 months before actually his birthday comes up is going to be Neptune. And Neptune is all about illusions. It's all about sorrow. It's all about secrets. Now it's even in the 12th house as well, which could be talking about your secret enemies as well. So for me, this is pretty much about a fact that he's going to go through an element of a loss within the family. And I would say that's going to happen in the next 18 months, which might make him go back to his royal duties.
Yes, and also Neptune rules his third house. Not the traditional ruler, but still it's the ruler of Pisces. So it also relates to brothers and sisters. And so who knows, maybe some disillusionment about some other, and also relatives again. Yeah, so
My
not only the
immediate-
closest family members, like in the fourth house, the immediate family, but also the larger group, the relatives. So there might be some disillusionment about which of his relatives are actually his hidden enemies, who is doing things behind his back, and then Mars being very active in the fourth. So about this sharpness that you mentioned, maybe he will have to really take care of not saying things that he will later regret, because Neptune also rules sorrow, as you said, and sometimes regret. So he has to be really careful.
Even if we have a look at the solar return chart in a traditional way, have a look at the rising sign is falling into Libra. And there is a restructuring energy going on, especially the second part of 2020, first part of 2021, in the fourth house from the ascendant.
Yes.
So the family seems to be restructuring. Some losses through family, which is going to be influencing his public image so much.
Yeah, and his inner world as well. Because the fourth house is actually our most inner world.
That's right.
Because it's on the bottom of the chart. So it's our deepest feelings, our deepest. And also this ascendant in Libra, it will be like he has to try to be very diplomatic. It's the Libra is the sign of diplomacy.
That's right.
And it's good that he has Mercury there, I think it's a good sign. Maybe he will stand his ground after all. And yeah. Also, considering the ruler of the ascendant is Venus, it falls in the 8th house, but in Leo, which shows the pride. And yeah, in order to keep the pride, yeah, and 8th house is also a house of loss again. So he has to really, yeah, do all possible to keep the pride, to keep his face, so to say, in front of the family, the relatives. Yeah, I think it's really important to stay diplomatic and
Exactly.
to know what to know, and not to focus so much on the ego part, but to know one's needs, because the moon was also in Leo, so to know one's needs and to act in their own interest.
Having a look at Meghan's chart. So Meghan is actually in a 3rd house year. She was born in 1981, August the 4th. So August the 4th, she entered the 3rd house year. Now, what we can see again, what you guys could have learned so far, is we're going to have a look at the ruler of that house, what type of condition the ruler has in the natal chart, because the natal chart gives you the promise. Now, having a look at this Mercury, actually this Mercury is pretty weak here, because it is combusted by the sun. And combustion means that the king doesn't care about you. The king doesn't hold your hands. So, well, whether it's in a literal sense or, or just figuratively speaking, I'm going to let you decide that. But that's how the ancient astrologers said. The king doesn't allow you to come onto your lap. The king is refusing to take you in the heart of his. And it's interesting because it already could show that, yeah, she's gonna have a little bit of a toughness going on of being accepted by the royal family. Now, Venus is there, and Venus is very sweet in the 3rd house. I feel like she's gonna come up with, trying to restore her image. She's going to be doing plenty of services in 2020, like trying to help the poor, maybe trying to save certain people, maybe the conversations she's going to have with news agents or reporters and so forth, just somehow in a sweet way. Because I feel like she really wants to restore her image. That is also shown by the Venus sextile to Mars. Yeah. And Mars is in the 1st house, which talks about self-image.
Yeah,
but now this is again a separating aspect. So the question is, how long can she hold up this sweetness? Because Venus in Virgo is not necessarily a sweet person. Don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong with them, but Venus here is not really cuddly, not really an emotional type, and I feel like she's going to try to win people over with her sensitiveness. And probably some people will have that, and majority won't, unfortunately, because Venus has got a square to Neptune. And it's in the 6th house. 6th house talks about servants, practitioners, and so forth. Neptune is the planet of collectiveness. That's the divine love. And there seems to be a little bit of a confrontation going on between those two. So maybe she is not going to be so much so much luck in that department.
Yeah, or maybe because Neptune is in the 6th, where we provide service. So maybe what she chooses to support will not be really will not turn out in her best interest in a way. And yeah, Venus in the third house can be very lovable in a way, with the way we talk, how the others hear our voice, the voice we have. So, but it's an applying aspect to Neptune, which means it's strong. And yeah, maybe what we choose to say, the others might find delusional. The others might find in a way untrue,
Yeah.
not so sincere. And yeah, it it can be, yeah, tricky in a way.
Now, because as I said, she's in a third house here, which rules actually business ventures,
Mercury,
and the ruler Mercury
it
is in the second
can,
house, which is talking about resources, money, self-esteem, and obviously it's in the sign of Leo. So that makes me think that she wants to restore the public image on one hand, but also that she wants to create a business for herself. Leo also rules business,
yes.
your own business.
I think this was actually one of the reasons why she had her own business when she married the prince, and everybody expected that she will leave it. It was some beauty cosmetics,
Okay.
and she actually didn't. And they were like, she was having a hard time because of this, and she doesn't want to leave her own business. And yeah,
Okay, I
she's
didn't know
having
she had
some
her own
issues.
business. I only got to know her as an actress.
Mm.
There was this series which I pretty
Some
much
beauty
liked
line.
actually.
Yeah, I think she
Oh, I
developed
see.
some beauty line. So, which is very like, as we discussed at the beginning, this Libra energy, and yeah, and own business, the second house, Sun and
Yeah,
Mercury.
and Mercury is in Leo as well, and Leo talks about, for instance, hair products.
Yeah.
So it's there. Leo is all about staging, actually,
Mhm.
all about entertainment.
Yes.
The possibility for her to open a school, for instance, for children in need who want to become an actor or actress, but they can't, is actually there. I think she's going to take on some charitable projects, quite huge ones, not just because she wants to restore her name. I think there is an element of peace and harmony and charitable feelings in her. She just
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily know how to express those, because every single planet in her chart is at the bottom. She is a very private person,
Yes.
and we just need to be able to accept that. Now, we did mention Neptune, but Neptune is actually the planet of victims, and that's an applying square. It looks like she's going to become a victim of um, of um, of something in the upcoming year. Now, once in August, 2020 August, she's going to be in a fourth house protected year. Wow.
Full house.
Plenty of experiences around family. It's a tough experience as well. And it looks like it could be even her partner's family, because Libra. And Venus is going to be the most active planet, which is in the 12th house from the 4th. And that talks about losses.
Yes.
A couple of predictions I kind of dare to make here. I don't think their relationship, unfortunately, will last long. I think one of the reasons is going to be because they can't take the pressure from especially from the governmental side of things. I think they want to kind of restore them into their positions. And I also feel like both of them are going to go through some personal losses, which is going to be pretty much impacting their relationship, which might end up as a divorce in 2021/2022. I really hope
Yeah.
it won't happen. They need to lay their relationship on completely new foundations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and once the fourth house becomes her perfected year, Venus is the ruler. This is the solar return chart for the fourth house perfected or for the third one?
It's
Or
for the
for the
fourth
fourth
now,
house,
yeah.
because I see that Venus is in conjunction with the North Node, which means that she will have to let go of something. Suddenly, she will have to, and Venus represents love. So yeah, it could be,
Yeah,
or maybe money or business as well.
she
So
might start a business this year. She needs to be careful with that because the sun is burning Mercury. So actually the business opportunity might just get burned, so to say.
yeah, and this Mercury on the ascendant, it's a very emotional one. So she has to be, yeah, in Cancer again, representing the family matters. It's indicated in a few ways, not only once. So it's a confirmation for something to happen.
Did you have anything else to add, or did you look at something else?
Well, I think we mentioned quite a lot.
Yeah, probably.
So
We don't
it's
want
an
to
end,
take up.
yeah. It's an endless talk, I think. Yeah, the more we look, the more we see. So yeah,
That's
lots of
the
things coming
beauty
up.
and the danger of two astrologers coming together,
Yes.
because everyone has got different eyes. They start talking, and then it's gonna become a 5-hour chat.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, I think that the most the highlight of the year, yeah, we were, and like the highlight of the synastry of the composite chart. I think we were able to discuss it in quite great detail. So yeah, not really much more to add.
Great. Then thank you very much, Sveti, for joining me again. It was a pleasure,
Thank you, Victor. It was
as
a pleasure for me.
always.
The pleasure was mine, really. Thank you.
Guys, I hope you have managed to learn a couple of bits and pieces. So as I said at the beginning, this is more like an educational and entertainment purposes, rather than taking sides and then going into politics. Obviously, we all have got different type of opinions, and we need to respect that. And obviously, we all have got different approaches to astrology as well. But these are the energies we've spotted in their charts. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did so, we also did a video on Celine Dion last month, which I'm going to put the link below. And actually, unfortunately, we predicted there's something to do with her mom, a loss of the mom, and then unfortunately it happened. And we also predicted there that she might not be able to finish her tour, which is happening in 2020. So let's see how that falls out for her.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, and see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye bye, everyone. Bye.